Welcome, everybody, to our pre-fight hype for round two, the quarterfinals of the 2021 Chewly Championships. I'm Dr. Brian Curtice, and we have with us the inestimable Jacob Jet and Aiden Rouse, the bracket assassin. We're here to talk the fights coming up, give you our paleontological thoughts of who we think should win. So we're going to talk about the lightweights first. The number 3 seed, Utahraptor, squaring off against the number 7 seed in surprise upset, Ceratosaurus. Either of you have any thoughts on what you see on this one? I see you shaking your head, Aiden.
That's going to be interesting because, really, I wasn't expecting Ceratosaurus to win at all. Of course, again, as I said after the matchup, you never really see Ceratosaurus win. So it's interesting to see Ceratosaurus actually have a chance up against an animal like Utahraptor and such. And looking at it from a larger viewpoint, I can see Ceratosaurus having a chance of this.
Absolutely. Ceratosaurus is so cool, and he's always so undervalued. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be a close one. No matter which way we slice it, they're pretty evenly matched in terms of just size and power, although they do both have distinctly different methodologies about how they go about attacking and fighting. More than anything, I'm stoked to see Ceratosaurus doing this well, man. It was one of my favorites my whole life. And, it's another one we find in Colorado quite a bit, or as often as possible. So, I'm a homer. It's a hometown hero. I'm gonna root for Ceratosaurus. Although I don't know, man. Utahraptor's got some pretty serious weaponry.
That's where I look at it from a popularity contest. I'm really curious to see how the public votes through this one. I've got the edge to Utahraptor from overall with the raptor phenomena that goes on. But like you both, I'm so happy to see Ceratosaurus doing well. Love that animal. The skull is massive. The teeth are wicked sharp. If it was just a bite versus bite, Ceratosaurus wins 10 out of 10 times. But you can't discount the massive killing claws and the meat-hooked, recurved hand claws that are Utahraptor.
You got to remember, though, Ceratosaurus has some pretty nasty claws. They're not quite Utahraptor claws, but, Ceratosaurus has a pretty good grip on it. So, I don't know, that big bite, I don't know. Here, have you seen this yet? We just finished up a reconstruction of a Utahraptor foot. Now, for comparison, I'm 6'4". This thing is, I can't even fit it all in there. So Utahraptor's got some serious power. And if I'm being totally honest, it's not about who I'm rooting for. I think Utahraptor might have just a slight edge just from, 4 brutal limbs. But I'd really like to see Ceratosaurus do well.
Aiden, any final thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, on this one.
Now, there's actually something interesting when we got to think about what those dromaeosaurs use those large claws for. Of course, you can obviously use them for slashing. But really, to me, that the main purpose for that big claw is just to use as like a dew claw on modern mammals to hang on to things. Well, in this, yes, a Utahraptor or a large dromaeosaur like Utahraptor would have to use something like that to hang on to a big animal like a large hadrosaur or something. But this is another predator that's really agile. So again, I can see Ceratosaurus having a chance here because Utahraptor may not be able to use that claw as much as we all may think we can, or it can, basically.
I think that's a really good point because, if you remember, Ceratosaurus has osteoderms. And that's kind of unique in theropod dinosaurs. I don't know of anybody else who has that.
Pycnonemosaurus is the only one that comes to mind. Abelisaur, the largest Abelisaur down in Argentina.
Well, I know I've cut apart enough alligators, and any level of osteoderms ruins your scalpel pretty quick. And also, Aiden, I think you make a great point. If that claw is really there, and a lot of people debate this, but I think there's some pretty good evidence that claw is there to hold on to prey. And I can think of less scary things to get a hold of and hang on to than a Ceratosaurus. I mean, what's your end game there if you grab onto and try to hold on to something? I mean, you just got a big toothy bite monster there that you're stuck to now.
And you bring up a great point on the if it is trying to bite through osteoderm-laden skin, the Utahraptor's teeth, they weren't particularly giant. You know, the raptors in general, the dromaeosaurs, all have those small teeth in comparison to Ceratosaurus, which will bite clean through whatever it hits.
Yeah. Bite Force Ceratosaurus wins. I think it's anybody's game. I'm really curious to see how this one comes out, and I think this is one that we could watch this one and come back a week later, and it could turn out differently.
Yeah,
I think this is a great match.
I'm looking forward to it. So, the other fight in our lightweight section, we have number 1 seed Megaraptor going up against the number 4 seed Alioramus the Tyrannosaurid. I see you shaking your head right away, Aiden.
Hey, I mean, you have a Tyrannosaur in there, so I'm rooting for the Tyrannosaur all the way, just because, I mean, again, as I said in the post fight interview, it's a Tyrannosaur. They're so successful for a reason. It's because whatever habitat you're living in, if there's a Tyrannosaur there, it's automatically the top predator. So when you put a top predator in the mix, an agile animal, for that matter, I think really when it comes compared from a much more an environmental standpoint, a Tyrannosaur, granted, it's not the biggest Tyrannosaur, but I mean, it's still a fairly large one. I think Alioramus may have it in the bag. I
agree, man. Like, it's Megaraptor's going to have to really pull a rabbit out of his hat to make this one work. It's not that it's going to come easy for the Alioramus, but I do think he's got a pretty sizable edge in this case.
And I'm going to take the other side. I think that Megaraptor, presuming that it was truly an apex predator of its day, and we don't find out it was using those claws sloth style or some kind of craziness, because they are just so overly sized. If it employs a speed strike capabilities, because I'm having it as faster than our good friend Alioramus, I think that if it puts a smart fight together, jabs and stabs, and then runs off, it could be like our Cinderella story last year of Allosaurus, boring wins of combat. However, I think that with the public voting, I think this one's going to be Megaraptor in a landslide.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a popularity contest, perhaps, but
I can see, though, the Alioramus size. It's a big Tyrannosaur. They have bone-crunching power, and if it's the old Mike Tyson one-punch power. If it gets a good solid bite, I don't care who you are. If you're Megaraptor and you get bit, it's over, because it's going to bite and rip through. It's not going to just bite and cause blood. It's going to remove muscle, bone, and etc.
It should be a good one. I think it'll be.
I think so.